Welcome back, Goat fans. We are back in the Goatrage. This is the greatest of all time podcast show, Goat Radio. I'm the Big Man, and we have a wicked little trio here. Boys, Nucci's with us, and the legend, Mark Coletta, is back in the Goatrage after his wicked weekend with his SFU Red Leafs squad. Boys, thanks for joining me in the Goatrage. I know it's we had a sudden snowstorm,
a blizzard,
in Van City, and I gotta say it's pretty amazing. Vancouver just cannot function with 1 centimeter of snow.
The bridges are shut down.
Just never happens on a weekend either. It's always like right before rush hour, and everyone went to work and with a sunny day, and all of a sudden the city shut down and you can't get anywhere. It's pretty brutes, but we made it here.
Turned into a yard sale out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They got to put some money into it. Get some plows. They won't. I know we don't have enough snow for that, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, I guess they're putting money in other places, eh?
I ran out of salt.
And you know, we have to bring this up. We're going to unveil something pretty soon here. We got something for the Goatrage. You guys know what I'm saying. Yeah, it's going to look nutty. It's going to elevate the Goatrage. We're going to keep it a secret until we're going to make a nice reel out of it. But let's get into it, guys. Agenda, we're going to talk about SFU Red Leafs. And then we got some Canucks, some NHL storylines, okay? But first things first, the Goat fans know the drill. What are we wearing, boys?
I'm ecstatic with what everyone's wearing here. I decided to go with the wild card weekend here upon us. The Cowboys, my Cowboys, are playing the Packers again 10 years after the infamous no catch that should have been from Des Bryant right here. It was a catch. Everyone says it now, and ended up costing them in the playoffs that year. But they get to play him again now, and they're an absolute wagon in the NFC.
Can you refresh my memory? The no catch.
It was against the Packers in the playoffs 10 years ago, 2014.
In Lambeau.
They said he didn't have full control.
Okay.
Before when he landed, right?
Yeah.
And they said no catch. It was in the end zone too.
A fourth down play, actually.
Yeah.
Romo to Des. Yeah.
And so 10 years later, they're playing against the Packers again, and in the playoffs at home with an absolute wagon of a squad. So should hopefully not come down to some kind of call like that again.
Had to get a new TV after that game. Yeah.
I know you guys are Cowboys fans.
Yeah, oh yeah, diehards. I'm repping the legend Troy Aikman. It's my favorite Cowboy. I grew up in that era where they were a definite wagon, and Super Bowls and Jimmy Johnson and the whole tagline of how about them Cowboys, and obviously people love to hate them, and now they haven't won in a long time, so we're hoping this is the year.
He's an even better commentator.
Yeah, he's great.
And Joe Buck.
You're right.
I love talking duels.
He's good. He's got good personality. He's good. He's just he's a cool dude. I think he's got his own beer out in Texas too. It's healthy beer. If that's it might be an oxymoron, but I don't know.
Yeah. How about the GOAT Cowboy, Terrell Owens?
Terrell. Yeah, he's been around, or he was with a lot of teams.
My quarterback. That's my quarterback. My teammate. Yeah,
that's one of the GOAT post-game
interviews.
He had a pretty six. I think he had a 6 suede jacket on too in the sun. He looked good. He looked good. Yeah, good.
Protecting Romo, right? That was good. All right, guys. Well, Mark, a couple weeks ago when you were in here, me and Nucci were saying how SFU Red Leafs were sending shockwaves, and now you made a lot of noise last week.
Yeah.
Tell us where you played. You played a back-to-back-to-back. That's tough.
Yeah, it's not easy.
That is not easy. And start with the first game. Who did you play?
So we obviously have had a pretty eventful schedule this year, and doing some, I think, pretty remarkable things. In with all due respect to how we operate, but Boston University, Boston College, and Providence in 72 hours, or 3 days is not an easy gauntlet to run.
Those are GOAT-worthy programs.
Oh, yeah.
In history.
Yeah, and for teams that play at that level, that's a hard schedule.
These are NCAA championship squads,
Yeah.
all of them.
Well, BU and BC are ranked 1 and 2, and Providence is ranked 9th. So we're showing up with our ragtag.
And Providence won it. They won the
15, I think.
They won the whole thing. Yeah, 8 years ago. All right, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, our guys are lunch pail guys, right? We're working hard. We're doing all those little things to get better, and I think that growth mindset since the beginning of the year, when we took our lumps at Michigan, it paid off. We've got 3 months of this kind of hockey under our belt, and the first night, obviously at BU, great facility, great city, great guys. I mean, Jay Pandolfo, former Stanley Cup winner with the Devils, he was gracious enough to come over, chat with us. They showed us around the facilities. We skated there for a day before we played. They were missing obviously Hudson, Willander, and obviously Macklin, Celebrini. Aiden didn't play either, but that's the same lineup that beat Yale the week before 6-1.
Yeah.
So any of the naysayers saying, well, they didn't have this, they didn't have this. Hey, that's a quality team top to bottom. Doesn't matter who's in or who's out. They're a phenomenal hockey team, and we had to play ugly hockey, and we did. Fanucci did send me a note after the first period and just keep him to the outside, and we played an old school man on man. We held that weak side winger. We mirrored them at the top. We didn't run out. We were very cautious to make sure we're in the lanes, and anything below the hash marks, we was trying to stay tight. Our goaltending was good, and we're sitting there after 1, up 1-0. We're sitting there after 2, 1-1, and you're sitting there. You're going, you're looking at Jim Camazola and myself. Like, are you shitting me? And it's like, well, we're here. We might as well keep going, and you get it to overtime, and anything can happen. And yeah, we lost in the shootout, but it goes down as a 1-1 tie. So that was Friday night. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, such a fine line. One little bounce here, you don't get the save. Goes the other way. College is nutty that way.
Oh, I know. And they had like a lengthy 5-on-3 kill at 1.2 in late in the third period, and to get that, and then it would have been pretty easy to kind of just roll over the rest of the weekend, or sit off, like hang off that result and be like, okay, that's good enough, or whatever, right? But
yeah, and I never killed many penalties in my day, so that wasn't my go-to, and so I let Jimmy run the PK, and they did a great job. I mean, I think it was 4.5 minutes, 5-on-4, 5-on-3, and we managed to stave it off, and we didn't give them any good looks either, and that was a good thing. Lost a defenseman halfway through the second period with a skate cut to the wrist, and he was done for the rest of the weekend. One of our defensemen, Crosser, gets a 5-minute, and he's out, so we're down to you're down to 4, and you're playing a game where, like I said, you're in it, and now the belief happens, and the guys are pushing, and it's the coaching staff's job at that point now to make sure that everything's positive, and you're continuing to believe that you can win. And the X's and O's are out the window at this point. It's all just pure emotion and pure adrenaline, and again, like Fanucci said too, the next night you could have rolled over and played dead too, and shit, we're up 1-0 after 1 against BC, and you're sitting there and you're getting texts in between the periods going, what the hell's going on over there? And the guys just they emptied the tanks, and we had a bad second and ended up losing 5-2, 5-1, I believe, but again, that's another nationally ranked team, albeit missing their World Junior guys. And facilities phenomenal on both ends right there, both nights.
As a coach, were you kind of nervous going into the weekend?
I learned this a long time ago, and I never thought of it. And I shouldn't say I learned this. I heard the comment Bobby Emery made to us when I was at Plattsburgh a bunch of years ago. Your highest high as a player will never meet your lowest low as a coach. And I never really thought of it until you start coaching. And the thing is, as a player, you win, you lose, you go out with the boys after the game and get a couple beers, or you're hanging out with your girlfriend or whoever it is, and it kind of just goes by, and you're in control when you're on the ice and you're doing those things as a player. As a coach, you go home and dwell. Should I put this guy out? Should I have not done this? Should he have taken a shot instead of this guy? Should I, you start second guessing everything you do. So there's no nerves there. It's just you got a helpless feeling because you're in no control. You stand on the bench and you watch these guys go balls out, sacrifice their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're standing in front of slap shots at 80, 90, 100 miles an hour. They're diving in front of pucks. You know, like I said, the one kid, you know, he was a millimeter or two close to severing a vein, and that's how deep this cut was. And when I see my guys do that, it's definitely emotional. And again, you just sit there and watch in awe and say, good job, guys. That's all you can really say.
Unreal.
Yeah, it was cool to watch. I was able to find a stream for that BU game. And then, like you said, you guys just had one bad period against Boston College, and a good team like that will zip you if you fall asleep for even 10 minutes. So
it's like the line in Top Gun, which way did he go? Which way did who go? And you're just going like this. You don't see it, right?
And then usually, like, going into the next game, like in pro, I played 3-on-3s in the coast and things like that. But usually you're playing another team that's played a 3-on-3, and those are, you know, pretty ugly games usually. And both teams are kind of in the same situation.
Yeah.
With their third game in, you know, 2.5 days or 3 days. But, like, that was your guys' third game. You guys haven't played 3-on-3 in years, probably. And then
you get on the bus Sunday morning,
Providence,
and you're firing over the 95 into Providence, Rhode Island. And it's like, okay, now where are we at now, boys?
Mm-hmm.
What do you got left? Now you're down to 5D.
Yeah, what do you say to the boys there?
Yeah, it's
third game, 3 nights. You're playing another. It's going to be a tough game. What are you saying before that game?
You know, you try to fire them up as much as you can. They're beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just, you know, some guys play a lot of minutes. You know, especially some of our top end guys. They're killing penalties. They're on the power play, and they're playing double shifts when there's a face off in our zone, or trying to line match a bit. And you know, you don't see that often. And the third game, you know, you just got to try to keep them in the moment and understand and motivate a bit with regards to, there's not many guys that are doing this. Mm-hmm. You guys are fortunate enough to be in an environment at this point that no other SFU student is. And again, I'm not using this to dismiss any of the student athletes up there. They're all quality students. They're all quality athletes. They do their job, and they do it really well. Our guys just happen to be playing 3 NCAA Division I teams at the top of their game. And now I'm telling them, hey, throw them back into the fire and go play a third game in 3 days. So it was tough. There was a sense of 3-2 going into the third. And there was, like Fanucci said, you could roll over and just say, shit, enough's enough. And the third period might have been our best period. They came out, you know, there was a little bit of motivation. To your point, what do you say? Well, you know, the couple of Providence guys are chirping the bench saying, go back to Canada and, you know, get out of here. You guys are
classical American chirps.
You're a club hockey team, beat it, and then, you know, I use that. Like, I can't really repeat what I said in the room, and you know, get a little bit of anger in your voice and get the guys going a little bit. In the third period, they came out and we ended up losing 4-2 or whatever it was. And
you want to hear those chirps.
It was tight.
Yeah, you know? You're in the game. That means you're in their head.
100%.
Yeah, it was good. Again, Nate Lehman, world junior coach of Providence, great guy. Very nice to have us over there, and he shook his head after the game and just said, look, great game. Your guys, I've never seen your guys work so hard. And to hear that from a guy like that, our guys do all the work and they deserve all the credit.
Beauty.
Man, 3-on-3. Like, what are these guys doing these days? I remember back then I would just try and rub my legs in something like icy hot or whatever, just so that I would feel the burn of that rather than like how tired my legs were. Just
cold
to
tub.
Like change my brain.
No ice left in any of the ice machines at the hotel. I'll tell you that. They were in the cold tubs.
Community
steady.
cold tubs on the third floor of the Best Western.
Yeah.
So going forward, what's on the agenda?
Yeah, we got a couple weeks here where we don't have any games until we go to Minot State to end our season here, and we'll practice. We'll do a couple things and bring some guys in to do some skill development, maybe to break up the weeks that are going to be a little bit stale. I'm sure they don't want to listen to me for 4 weeks in a row. So we'll do that and have some fun with the next week and then get back to work. You know, moving ahead, it's recruiting, it's scheduling, it's trying to get next year up and running, whether things take a turn for the better or things stay status quo. I don't know. All I know is that it's my job to make sure I give the players the best experience and competition they can. So I think you'll be happy when I say I've reached out to a bunch of schools, Milos, and Michigan Tech's one of the schools who's returned my call.
Well, I'm excited about that. I can't wait if you guys end up making that happen. Go Radio wants to be involved.
Okay. You can drop the puck. You can be there, set up shop right in the lobby at Bill Copeland. It'll be a cool event.
Oh, I can't wait. Just had a pod with one of my teammates. And, Michigan Tech, they just won the GLI tournament.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome to get them in
maybe you take
Lower
warm up.
Mainland.
You take warm up.
Oh, I'd love to. Bring my old J.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And you know what? I got to say, Mark, you can see the passion. You're really invested, and you're really paving the way. Your hockey club, we hope you can, take down some barriers and see what happens. Keep chipping away. Doing some amazing things. Everyone's noticing, and all I can say is, Lower Mainland's behind SFU. Yeah,
that's the goal. And again, it's, hey, if you don't try to push the envelope a bit and do things, then what are you doing? Like, it's easy just to stop and quit and just say, okay, I'm done. I think, we're trying to forge ahead and just say, shit, if there's a barrier there, we'll try to break it.
100%. You've been grinding like for a while, and you're gonna keep going.
Yeah, we're gonna try.
100%.
Try to get to where we want to get to before the Cowboys win a Super Bowl.
So you're gonna do it this
year,
this winter. Then
that's what we're doing. We're winning. I think a lot.
I think those emails and phone calls will be answered with a lot more, not respect, but more after this last weekend and the season probably.
Well, we got Fairbanks for next year as well, Fanuch, so that'll make you happy.
Perfect.
Wow, we should head to Fairbanks. Nanook land.
I did that last year, man. It feels like Fairbanks outside right now.
Yeah.
It's a blizzard out there.
Awesome. Before we get into some Canucks, all right? Nucci, tradition. What are we drinking? What kind of wine?
We got the Miomi, the Pinot Noir. It's 2017. A classic Pinot. I think this is probably their best out of their great varieties.
What would we pair that with? After last time I was here, we talked about some pastas. Fanuch, what are we pairing that with?
That would have gone well with my tagliatelle al braised beef ragu this evening.
It's good. That's a good one.
I know that's unreal. Where are you gonna get that?
I had it at my parents'.
Oh, okay.
Carlo senior whipped it up.
Should bring some in the Tupperware.
I know. I have some at home actually.
Okay, boys. Well, cheers.
Selfish, Fanuch.
Cheers to the Red Leafs and where it takes off. All right.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Fine rights.
Okay, boys. Canucks. I'm always thinking they're going to stumble at one point, but they are completely wicked right now. Just watch them take down another East Coast team, Pittsburgh. Awesome game. And all I got to say is 649, the Lotto line, baby. Wow.
Yeah. I think, like you said, everyone's waiting for them to stumble, and if that wasn't happening, I think we would all just be like swooped into this frenzy that that is the Vancouver Canucks this year. But I still have obviously a bit of that kind of. I'm a little more reserved still. I'm still, like you said, people are still waiting for them to fall, but they have so many signs of like what a good team would do when they're on a roll, or they're a good team, is the way they answer back after a goal scored. They seem to tie it up right away or score right after. They're perfect after 2 periods with the lead. Haven't lost a game yet. Almost blew it tonight, but found a way to win. Like, that's just signs of good hockey team. That's what you always talk about with the good team. And they had a 40-3 record after 2 periods with the lead and things like that. And they score first in games. Yeah. They're never chasing games. Like, it's just okay if they did after 10 games, 15 games, 20 games. You're like, okay, can they sustain it? But we're over halfway through the season now, unless injuries and all that happen, which happens to every team, and that's when really it goes out the window. But if they stay healthy or even close to healthy, I just don't see how they're going to really fall much.
I think
first the NHL, man.
I think there's an attitude and again, we can talk about lineups and skill, 1 through 20 or whatever it is, but the way Tocchet has really instilled some work, and not only work, but accountability. Let's use that. Like when you're sitting out your star Russian goal scorer from last year who just signed a big ticket, and you're just saying, "Hey, buddy, you're healthy. Sit, have a seat, watch from the stands. We'll get you in next time." That goes through a dressing room with a lot of panic. And so if the player that's on the third line or fourth line looks at the other guy saying, "Well, shit, if Tocchet's doing that, what the fuck can he do to me?"
Yeah.
And so there's a purpose when they play.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing, because if that's not there, then like you said, those 1-goal games turn into losses. Those mistakes keep happening. And I think that's the single reason on how they're doing. And you got to give Alvin a little credit. I mean, Lafferty, Pius Suter, Teddy Bluger, these are all legit third, fourth line guys, but they can all play.
Yeah.
Like every single one of those guys play. And Joshua's scoring goals. Aman scoring. I mean, hey, might as well be optimistic with it. I'm an optimistic guy, so hey, what the hell?
Up and down the lineup. When I look at Tocchet, I just think of not satisfied.
Yeah.
Ever.
He's not.
And you win a game, back to work. Back to fucking work right away.
Well, it's the only way I think you get things done. I mean, the one thing, Jim Camazola, who's with me, he's an older fella who played in, 2 Olympic Games and the NHL and the American League and has done a lot in his hockey career. Like, he couldn't believe even some of the way the NCAA has changed to where it's very NHL-esque and very passive. Like penalty kills. We were playing 2 or 3 of the top teams this week, and their penalty kill was very passive. And we're shaking our head going, what are we doing? And here we are. Yeah. We're teaching our guys to be aggressive, to jump, to numbers, bobble pass, boom, be aggressive up the ice, be aggressive back. And I think, maybe Tocchet's philosophy is we're going to be aggressive when we have to be all the time, instead of being very passive in certain situations, letting your skill guys kind of be out on the perimeter and do some things that some of those high-end guys can't. Well, I think he's saying to the high-end guys and the lunch bucket guys, we all have to work here.
Yeah, they don't really have a free pass. They don't really try, like, crazy stuff. Like, if you watch the Leafs play, there's, like, behind-the-back passes and all this, like, kind of flair and to their game. But if you watch, like, Pettersson, Besser, and Miller, they're, like, dump a puck, rim,
A to
boom,
B,
go in, rip it back around. They just, like, dart into spots, and they're not really trying anything too crazy.
Yeah. Oh, the only one that has a leash, also Hughes, and you got guys like Gonchar on the.
Yeah, they were talking about it today. It was like, the guys that have won like cups in the organization, plus guys that played for Pittsburgh too.
Yeah.
Before, because it was Pittsburgh tonight, and it's like Cole won cups and Gonchar won the cup there, and Adam Foote won Stanley Cups. Like
Tocchet would have won a cup there too.
Yeah.
With Lemieux.
Yeah.
So it's like
that story Tocchet said a couple of weeks ago when he was on After Hours. That was hilarious when the first time he got traded, or when he got traded from Philly to Pittsburgh, and he was a meat and potatoes tough guy, and he scored some goals, obviously, like Team Canada in '87 and all that stuff. But he shows up at Pittsburgh and he dumped the puck in, and he got to the bench, and Lemieux looked at him and says, "We don't dump the puck in here." Which obviously, if you're playing with Mario, then I guess you don't.
Yeah. Okay, boys. What about EP40? Obviously, he's doing some great things. He scored the overtime goal today. But something's fishy going on. And Elliot Friedman said this. Pettersson has made it very clear he's not ready to talk contract with Vancouver. Does he want a boogie out of here or what? What is he waiting for? Nylander signed. Something's up. And I tell you this. When Bo Horvat came back here and everyone was like, "Oh, are we going to boom or not?" If Pettersson left and came back, I would boo the shit out of him. 100%.
Yeah, it's kind of put of a. I'm almost harder on him this year. Just because I guess subconsciously I'm like, man, is he gonna sign here? Like, what's he doing to deserve what he thinks he's going to deserve? And then, like, he has this road trip. He's just exploded. Even before the road trip, he was on pace for 99 points this year. People thought he had an injured wrist or his groin or something's wrong with him. He's not shooting. He's not putting up the numbers and things like that. And he's still on pace for 99 points. And then I'm like, fuck, this guy like doesn't want to sign here. What is he? The team's playing well. They're on pace to make the playoffs, first in the NHL.
Yeah.
And like he still hasn't really. Friedman went over to Sweden and like interviewed him and talking about all this stuff. And he's very quiet also and reserved and kind of almost like dry when he's talking about this stuff. And you're like, fuck, man, like what are you gonna?
Even today, there was a story saying, I'm focused on the game, not the contract.
And maybe that's good. Maybe it is good.
Maybe it is good.
But for us, it's kind of like, man, just get it done. Like, what's going on? You hear about all these guys. Like, Kachuk was an example that happened.
Because you're going to get money.
Yeah, he's going to get paid.
I think he'll get more than Nylander.
He will, because what these guys are kind of signing for is usually 13 to 14% of the cap.
Yeah.
And next year it goes to 87.75 or whatever. And 13% of that will be like 11.4 million. So I can see him easily getting 12. Nylander got what, 11.5?
Yeah.
And Pettersson's a point per game player, over a point a game player in his career. Nylander's under like 0.87 points per game. I think Pettersson's more of an important part of a team than Nylander is. Nylander, I feel like, is more of a secondary kind of.
Oh, I don't know anymore. I don't know. I think it's Matthews and him now. Marner.
Ahead of Marner?
Yeah.
Him and Marner are neck and neck now.
The thing with Pettersson is he couldn't drive a line himself.
No.
Nylander plays with Tavares. Now you put Pettersson with Miller and Besser, and they're like,
yeah,
he's getting 3 points a game. So he's elite with another good player on his line.
Maybe it's just posturing too by the agent and Pettersson.
Yeah, that seems to be the new kind of way to do
sometimes,
things.
Sometimes the media has to make up stories or create a narrative.
Or the agent sets these things up with the media to
like we
my guy.
Like we are.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we like to speculate, no different than everybody else. And as fans, you're gonna shit on somebody if they're not taking the hometown discount, or they're doing some of these things that you expect them to do just because they're here. I mean, I agree in some aspects. They don't really owe the fans anything. They're working. They're making money if they produce, and I think that's the key. If you're producing and you're doing what you have to do as a skilled guy, as a high-end guy, then you get paid. If you don't, then then you have to feel shame, like Lemieux says in Slapshot. Go to the penalty box and feel shame.
I guess the only caveat in all this is he's restricted, so even if he did want to walk,
they can match it, can't they?
Well, anything they can match, but they can trade him.
They can trade him, yeah.
Like Kachuk, get a haul for him, which would be unfortunate. But hey, if they win the cup this year, pay him $40 million a year. I don't care anymore because they won the cup.
Yeah, we're going buck wild.
But look, I mean, everybody always thought Gretzky could never get traded, and I remember. I mean, you guys are a little younger than me. I remember that summer of '88 riding my bike on Kitchener Street to Pete's Market to get the paper because somebody said, obviously no phones and internet back then. And so I rode my bike to Pete's Market. And anybody listening here will understand on Kitchener Street there was a Petro can and Brownie's Chicken at Pete's Market. And they didn't have it. So I rode all the way down to the Simon Fraser Market on Hastings and Sperling just to grab the Province paper on the back. And there it was. It was Gretzky traded. And everybody thought that was impossible.
When he was crying on the press conference?
Yeah, the great one.
And then...
Well, there he is.
That's why he did it right there.
Yeah.
To expand the game and start making dough with Coca-Cola.
And the Eastern, that thing's like a wrought iron stick. I don't think that thing ever broke.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wicked. We also got another pretty sweet insider information. We had it today. This guy, he works within the NHL. Doesn't want me to name drop him. But
legit info.
I can quote, but I can quote him. I won't say his name. And we love doing our predictions, Nucci. We called the first NHL firing this year. No one saw it coming. Jay Woodcroft. We called it when he's one of the best winning percentage coaches in Edmonton history. We said he was going to get canned.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got it done. But okay, so I'm going to quote this guy. And he's saying Kuzmenko and a later pick for Gensel at the deadline. And this is what he goes on and says this. Gensel's agent says no negotiations are going to get ugly. Rutherford loves to make splashes at the deadline, swinging his fossil dick around.
Wow.
It would be a pure rental, but would put the Canucks top 6 over the edge and an all-in play for the Cup. They are going to go for the Cup this year. Big time.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to do one more deal. And we're calling it first. You're here to hear Kuzmenko's out of here.
For Gensel.
And
for
a
Gensel.
pick.
And a pick.
And they shed money on the cap, obviously, when they get rid of him.
Yeah. Rental.
Because Kuzi and a later round pick for Gensel.
Yeah.
And what's Gensel? He's what? Closing in on 30 now?
Yeah.
It's got to be, no?
He plays with Crosby. He's
a UFA too.
Yeah.
So it would just be straight up for this playoff run.
Playoff run, and that's
you
what
have
happens.
to go for it.
And that would be wicked, I think. Especially when Kuz, poor guy, is not in the lineup, and he should play somewhere else.
Yeah, he's just not a talking guy, and
yeah,
I don't think it's just gonna snap for him at any point now. We're halfway through the year, and
I love him.
He's already been healthy.
Yeah.
And
Taka doesn't like the loops.
I know.
He likes to stop and starts.
And he doesn't like the behind the back pass.
Yeah.
And
No.
Yeah.
No, none of the Olay.
All this is in his head too. Like
Fanucci, none of the Olay bullshit, right?
Yeah.
No. Like he's passing up shooting now. He's like nervous. It's like
I like Kuzmenko too, man. I love his personality. He's a beauty. What about a guy like the Worm? Corey Perry, he's back in the market.
I thought you meant Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Coming to the NHL. Fuck, he's coming to the NHL? That's awesome.
The Worm.
Man, he'd be a great addition.
Wouldn't he?
Well, he's got Stanley Cup pedigree. He's got some veteran leadership. Not sure he showed some leadership in whatever happened. I mean, maybe it was.
That's the thing. We don't
know what happened, right? So maybe it's
So
the boy, just a guy being a guy. Like who really knows until it ever comes out.
And it's obviously a situation. Chicago,
yeah.
You can't break you can't go overboard a decimal right now. You go past your curfew, they're going to axe you at this moment. They've gone through a lot of shit. I think that it was one strikeout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows what happened?
That'd be an easy addition too.
Right?
Do you think they need I mean, I really am impressed with Susie and Cole.
Yeah.
So you had some experience in Cole, you had some size with Susie, then you make the Zadorov deal, and you're sitting there going, wow, this defensive core went from absolute bollocks the year before to pretty quality pedigree. And can they add maybe one more? Just maybe it isn't Gensel, maybe it's another D-man. I don't know. But
because one guy out, and that's Jolson in, right? And it's like, are you comfortable with Jolson in?
Yeah.
For an extended period of time or in the playoffs?
Or do you make any moves?
You have to.
You do?
Think you got to make one.
To, man.
Yeah.
You have to.
Jumpstart the squad a little bit more?
Well, just
for
just
spots?
add to it. Just show the boys, hey, we're going for it. You guys have put yourself in the situation that we're going to go for it.
Yeah.
And repay their efforts by being first in the NHL.
When you have Demko in net, let's be honest. When you have a goaltender like that, and again, you show me any good coach, I'll show you a better fucking goalie.
Yeah.
The bottom line is he's legit.
He's a real deal.
And he's like the save he made on Crosby tonight was ridiculous, and some other things. His demeanor, his character. He's a cool cat in there. He's a Boston College guy, so obviously he's a college guy. So we'll promote the NCAA guys. But anytime you have a goalie like that, you're leaning on him, and so you can play a little carefree, knowing shit he's got our back. And then maybe. You play a little less scared.
100%. Good point on that.
You're like my boy Kirk McLean.
Yeah.
94 run. Great run.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get him in the Goatrage. He's local.
Captain. Yeah, we can maybe reach out. We'll reach out. I think he follows SFU hockey now. We'll see if we can get him.
Awesome. Okay. And what about a hometown boy? The young gun, the phenom, Bedard. He's out.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? It's a little test. Month out. It happened to McJesus. Remember? Shoulder.
His shoulder or leg?
I think it was his shoulder when he got kind of hit from behind.
And he went down. Tried to split the D, no?
Yeah.
Against Columbus, maybe?
I think it was Philly.
Philly, okay.
100 miles an hour. But he'll be back. He's completely wicked.
Yeah, it's too bad because he'd be playing in Vancouver here in a couple weeks. Would have been his first game back in town. And I'm sure a lot of scalpers were ready to sell those tickets for big dough, and now they're sitting with
trade them up with the Taylor Swift tickets.
And you brought up a good point when we talked yesterday.
I don't know if maybe the Calder race is a little more open now.
Yeah.
Than it was. You got Fantilli's doing well in Columbus. He's in small markets. You don't hear as much about him. Luke Hughes is unbelievable in New Jersey, and
Cooley putting up some numbers now. I mean, he's pretty flashy. I don't know if he's putting up numbers in Arizona. I haven't really kept track.
Yeah, there's a couple other guys kind of there on the fringe as well, and
I mean, how about the fact that I know this might not have come up either. It's like it's a pretty clean hit. I know that people are gonna scream bloody murder, especially locally, or maybe even Chicago fans, but even Luke Richardson said it's clean hit, and he was a mean bastard when he played.
Yeah,
so.
And Smith, right?
Yeah,
Big Smith, Wisconsin boy.
Yeah.
Big boy. What do you want him to do in that? The guy's coming down the middle. It's a player. He doesn't realize, it could be anybody. That's his job. Or he's not playing the next game.
He's 6'3", 6'2". You know, Bedard is coming through the middle.
Now, if he's running him from behind and being a fucking idiot, then sure, I get it. But I think, but to your point, Bedard, I still think he's a front runner for the Calder no matter what.
I think so.
Yeah, I think he comes back in a month and a half with a nice little, maybe the old Talkett jawbone with the visor combo.
Nice.
Or he goes back to the bubble days from the World Juniors, and he just comes back and just tears it up and
come out with a Jofa maybe.
Yeah,
walks away with the Calder as he was on pace for anyways.
Yeah,
and then maybe Chicago comes last
and gets
Celebrini.
Yeah,
and then you said this too. You got another Kane Taves duo.
That'd be ridiculous.
Wouldn't that be cool?
No, they can't get him. Fuck Chicago. Like seriously.
They're on pace too, man. If you look at that lineup now, playing 2 months without Bedard, like whoa. It's
there's some good players in this draft. I mean, I think it's defense heavy, but
yeah,
there's a Michigan State guy right at the top.
Yeah.
You
know his name?
So it's a Russian name, I think.
Oh yeah,
defenseman, and then obviously Celebrini and Iserman. And I think Iserman's going to BU next year with Celebrini.
Yeah, he decommitted from
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to be a wagon next year. Maybe try to get them on the schedule again.
100%.
Might not be a 1-1 tie, but we'll see what happens.
Fuck, did you have a little game plan of, playing rough as shit too, maybe? Maybe you rattled them a bit?
No, I mean...
Chop some toes, chop some ankles, a little, slightly?
The physicality I think you always want to be there. I think you have to impose some sort of some body work along the walls and make sure it's tough to get into that middle area, especially on the skilled guys. So yeah, I mean, there's little tricks of the trade. As a smaller forward, I used to get my ass kicked, and you got to figure out little things with the skate and stick to poke guys at the right place and get your elbow where it needs to be, and off face-offs a little bit of a
how are the refs in NCAA now? Like,
oh shit, we should have Jimmy on here. We had one guy all 3 games, Antipin, and he was a fucking beaut. But that's just the way they call the game, and it's like, it is what it is.
It's just back and forth penalties.
Well, they don't call stuff for long stretches of the time, and they don't really call the physical. They call the little shitty stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Like even there was one. It was 3-2 against Providence, and it's a third game in 3 days, and fucking Antipin knows we're this team from Canada playing our third and 3, and our defenseman, I guess, the puck pops up at the blue, and he goes to catch it. Instead of just batting it down, he closed his hand on it mid-flight, not in the crease, just like at the blue line, and they call it.
Oh, weird.
And I'm just like, are you kidding me? You're going to fucking call it? So I kind of snap a bit and yell at him a bit. But, it is what it is. You got to be a little bit composed. But he was good. He came off after us and chatted with us after the game and said, he couldn't believe that for 3 games our guys did what they did. But, yeah, they're good. There's a couple different rules. Like if the puck on the offensive zone goes off and out, the faceoff still stays in the zone. The penalty, if you're in the box and you get scored on and there's a delayed penalty, the penalty still stays and you keep going.
Ooh, imagine the swing on those games.
Yeah, so there's a couple different rules in the NCAA. The icings are what they are, the hybrid, obviously. And then the challenge rule, obviously.
Yeah.
We challenged a couple times and lost both, but you lose your timeout.
On goals?
No, you can challenge anything. Major penalties, hits to the head.
Oh. It's kind of turning into AAHF kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Those are some of the rules from when I was playing my last year. Like anything that comes out of the zone in the offensive zone, like if you're on offense, even if it comes off your stick on the way out, like it stays in.
Yeah. Yeah, they were fine. The refs are fine. I mean, I got, I'll say this. I've coached SFU for I don't know how many years now, and I've yet to receive a bench minor for yelling and screaming at the refs, because in all the years I've watched hockey or played soccer or, and I played both sports for a long time, I've never seen a ref in any sport come back to the coach and say, oh, you know what? Sorry, Mr. Coletta. Sorry, Mark. I made a mistake. I'll fucking take the call back. Never. It's never happened in the history of sports. He's not going to come over and change his mind. So me yelling at him does nothing for me, and it just sends a message to my guys that I'm rattled. So now they're going to get rattled. And I need to figure out, or our guys need to figure out the way to play the next shift after a bad call, because they got to go back out the next shift. And if I'm losing my shit, or, I think you got to hold that in a little, I've seen coaches snap and yell and scream. What are you fucking yelling at?
Yeah.
What really? What's he going to do? Come over and say, oh, sorry, I made a mistake. You're right.
Yeah.
Never. Yeah. It's like a cop giving you a ticket. You think he's going to say, oh, sorry, you didn't speed? He's giving you the fucking ticket no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's my take on yelling and screaming.
You just got to give it to him a little, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We
just
gave
a
it.
nice vent.
Yeah. Robert Morris had 2 Italian refs, so I was giving it to him pretty good.
I think once a year I got tossed for just going berserk. I just needed that one time, then put my tail between my legs the rest of the year, and that was it.
Yeah, I try to stay. Got the good hair, and you're up on the bench. You don't want to be.
Maybe do something.
Maybe do
something
bench,
nuts,
right? You got to stay
and make
calm.
it to the top 10 Sports Center.
Viral, man.
You know how there's those
Play
fair,
play fair.
Yeah, throw the sticks.
Yeah.
No, I don't think the school would be happy with that conduct.
No, 100%.
No, I don't need any bad press.
All right, boys. Awesome little pod. We love having you.
All right. I
Mark,
appreciate you guys having me.
Anytime you're available, and after the season, touch base and see how the last game went in where are you guys going?
Minot State.
Minot State.
Top end, one of the higher end club teams in the States. So it should be a decent trip. And like I said, I'll give you the heads up once the date is confirmed about Michigan Tech.
Oh, a lot of Lower Mainland guys went to Tech. So
how about this? I'll say this: Fanucci and I, Cowboys win the Super Bowl, we shave our heads. On the pod.
Wow.
I'll say it. I'll shave. We'll get Gaich in here.
You got that?
Yeah. Gaich will come and do it. He did it at a beer pong tournament for me one year. We'll get him in here. Cowboys win. Shave the head.
Nucci, are you agreeing to this?
Wow. That's
got to do it, Nucci. Come on.
I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. We're doing
Guess
it in
I'm
the
not cheering
Goatrage.
for the Cowboys this
Yeah,
year.
you got to do it.
Okay, boys. That's great to finish that off right there. This is the greatest of all time podcast show, Goat Radio. We will see you next time from our Goat history. We'll see you later.